long shall I cry, and thou wilt not hear, even cry out unto thee of violence, and thou wilt not save? Why dost thou shew me iniquity, and cause me to behold grievance? For spoiling and violence are before me, and there are that raise up strife and contention. Therefore the law is slacked, and judgment doth never go forth. For the wicked doth compass about the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. Behold.
Well, less than 40 trials in 14 months. That is the latest finding from an audit performed by a retired Shelby County judge. Memphis Mayor Jim Strickland sent out a document in his weekly update, and the findings are startling. Fox 13's Kayla Solomon is joining us from the Breaking News Center tonight. Kayla, you combed through this report. What really stuck out to you most?
Darcy, there's not nearly as many trials happening now as there were before the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, the report is over 20 pages, and it tells us some of the findings from the criminal courtrooms over the last 2 years or so, but it also tells us what has not been happening over that same time.
Every week, 6, 7, or more trials are scheduled to begin. This is one of the discoveries made by retired Shelby County Judge Bobby Carter, who was given the task of reviewing the criminal courts in 201 Poplar. But he goes on to say that there's often 1 or 2 trials that actually begin, or no trials at all. It's a pattern that criminal defense attorneys say they're also noticing.
I think that what you see with it over the past several years is you have the coincidence of 2 factors, right? On the one hand, you have the pandemic that starts in 2020 and continues through 2021. Then the following year, you had an election where a lot of new judges took the bench.
Before the COVID-19 pandemic, Carter says there were about 200 jury trials happening in Shelby County in a given year. From September of 2022 to November of 2023, he says there were less than 40. That's about 3 trials per month. Carter says it takes a case that used to be resolved within 1 to 2 years to dragging out past 3 or 4 years. And it makes the trial more difficult for both the defense and prosecutors, especially when it comes to witnesses.
Somebody who was living in Memphis at a particular place and time when something went down, well, the farther out you go from that time-wise, the more likely it is that an individual has moved somewhere else.
Or, as defense attorney Jake Brown points out, worse.
Or unfortunately, in a case or a city like Memphis with its homicide numbers, it's not uncommon. I understand from my friends on both sides of the bar, it's not uncommon at all to have witnesses themselves be victims of homicide before their cases ultimately get tried.
Now, Carter also broke down the number of some of the prosecutions and not prosecutions that happened when it comes to motor vehicle thefts in 2022. Coming up at 10, I'll break down those numbers for you. Darcy.
That is Fox 13's Kayla Solomon reporting live in the Breaking News Center for us tonight. Thank you so much, Kayla.
Newly released data suggests you may want to think twice about where you park, because thieves are actually lurking. WRAG's Jordan James is live with more on this part of the story. What about it, Jordan?
Hey, April, parking lots across downtown are full like the one right behind me. It's a sight that could come at a cost, which has some taking additional measures.
With Barbecue Fest in full swing at Tom Lee Park.
Everyone is just in good spirits. There's music everywhere.
Several parking vendors are hoping to cash in on this opportunity.
We'll be here for the next few nights until midnight.
Not only are vendors like Caroline Young expecting to capitalize, but possible thieves are as well. Newly released data from Memphis police has shown that since the beginning of the year, there have been 5,971 auto thefts compared to the same time last year when the city had 2,294, which is concerning for residents.
That really is an issue. With the apartments over here, I mean, there's break-ins all the time. But I think with the amount of people that are around, it's not really an issue.
The report revealed that the top 5 vehicles targeted by thieves are Hyundai, Kia, Infiniti, Nissan, and Dodge. Hyundai and Kias have accounted for nearly 40% of auto thefts in Memphis. It's stats that vendors believe underscore the need for secure parking.
We stay until everyone has left at night. So we walk around. There's always at least 2 or 3 people here on the property. And we even sleep in the building when we need to.
Not only are they having to patrol the lot, but Young says security cameras are up in hopes that it can deter crime.
We try to make it safe for everyone.
Among the ways that MPD has tried to reduce the number of auto thefts is by giving out steering wheel locks and patrolling neighborhoods like downtown. For now, reporting here live tonight downtown, Jordan James, WREG News Channel 3.
All right, thank you.
Yet another brazen act of violence in Memphis. This one in broad daylight in a part of town crowded with people out doing their holiday shopping. And tonight, police say the suspect is a teenager. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Daryl Green. Darcy Thomas is off this evening. Now, that happened Saturday outside the Chili's in East Memphis on Perkins Extended near Poplar. The manager of a restaurant across the street shot that video and soon found himself the target of a man he says was trying to break into a car. Fox 13's Walter Murphy is live at the scene of that shooting in East Memphis. Walter, we now know who police are looking for.
That's right, Daryl. So MPD is now looking for 18-year-old Kerry Humphrey, and he's wanted on 6 counts of aggravated assault, armed robbery, and theft of a firearm. But luckily, nobody got shot in that shooting on Saturday. However, the people that were targeted tell me that it's wild how brazen these bad guys are getting.
This cell phone video shows a Saturday morning heist.
Well, in broad daylight? That's crazy.
Outside of a popular lunch spot in East Memphis. You can see the suspect wearing a blue hoodie, watching out for his accomplice who's inside of the Dodge Charger looking for the loot. Then he notices that cell phone surveillance was happening across the street, and that's when he showed them his gun before firing it at the people watching.
Yeah, that is wild.
Yeah, that made no sense. Absolutely none. That's ridiculous.
Luckily, nobody got shot, but the manager of a restaurant across the street who didn't want to talk publicly about what happened did show me where one bullet grazed his business. And Memphis police say that nearly 10,000 cars have been broken into this year alone. The people who I talked to at that shopping center say for them, the brazenness of the burglars is getting out of control.
We just came in to have some breakfast, and it could be happening like right now, so it's pretty scary.
And what do we need to do to fix it?
I don't know. I think it's a very, very deep problem.
This world's going downhill. I don't understand. There should be no reason for any of that at all.
And again, police are still searching for Humphrey. If you know where he is, you should call Crime Stoppers or 911. And again, there was a pistol stolen out of that vehicle, and that's why police tell you that you should never leave a firearm inside of your car unless it's locked up. I'm going to have more details about that coming up at 6. Daryl.
Fox 13's Walter Murphy live. Thank you, Walter.
A man shot twice trying to stop several thieves breaking into his car. Where it happened sent a shockwave across the city. A church parking lot. Thank you for joining us. I'm April Thompson.
I'm Alex Coleman. Several people inside First Baptist Church in Midtown heard the gunfire before learning one of their own was hit.
WREG's Jarita Patterson has what you need to know as detectives try to track down suspects.
You can't live in fear.
We met Fran Lucas when he approached us, excited about his 67th birthday. He celebrates every trip around the sun, saying it was not easy getting to this point.
40 years on drugs. I've been clean for 17, and now he has restored me. I came here from Chicago with nothing. Now I have a house, 2 cars, wife. God is so good.
He's hopeful those responsible for a crime at a church of all places will see the errors of their ways so they too can be restored.
You ain't never too old to change. As long as you got breath in your body, you can do it.
Just before 8:30 Monday night, police say several thieves were burglarizing cars in the parking lot to First Baptist Church along East Parkway North. A man leaving this place of worship soon became the thieves' next target. MPD Sergeant Lewis Brownlee explains.
The male came outside of the facility and was shot as he witnessed somebody breaking into vehicles on the property.
The victim, hit twice, was rushed to the hospital while several burglars were rushing away from the area.
They fled in a silver Toyota Camry, missing a driver's side headlight.
Although Mr. Lucas does not attend First Baptist, he says it is disheartening knowing sacred ground is also under threat.
I mean, you got half of my security system at the church have to carry. And that's ridiculous.
But he knows the way his life was turned around, the same can happen for those who committed a crime on church ground.
We got to pray more. We got to pray more.
It's in lockup where police say those responsible need to be. If you know anything at all that could help detectives do the right thing, call Crime Stoppers. That number is always 901-528-CASH. Reporting outside the Criminal Justice Center, Jarita Patterson, WREG, News Channel 3.
Also new tonight, Shelby County Sheriff's Office is saying they took all of these weapons from a 15-year-old. This comes after detectives say he's responsible for breaking into at least 30 different vehicles. The burglary stretched from this past Saturday to Monday. The locations included the Holiday Inn on Centennial Drive, Agri Center on Walnut Grove, and the butcher shop right next door. Among the weapons found when the warrant was finally served, detectives also found an Infiniti that was stolen in Germantown on Sunday.
Well, the family of a 15-year-old boy who was shot and killed in Binghamton on Thanksgiving morning cannot understand why the suspected murderer is back on the streets tonight. Thank you for joining us at 5. I'm Pepper Baker.
And I'm Rudy Williams. Now, one of the teens charged in that boy's murder is walking free after bonding out. Now, the question so many are asking tonight is, why? Well, a short while ago, our Stephen Pimpo sat down with the judge who made that decision. And Stephen, what did you learn today?
Rudy, Pepper, Judge Bill Anderson Jr. told me that while he can't comment on ongoing cases, decisions like this one actually give him the authority to monitor and place restrictions on suspects. The victim's grandmother feels otherwise, telling me the 15-year-old's murder has left a hole in her heart that will never be filled.
I rushed over to my mom's house and I saw my nephew laying in the street with a bullet hole in the back of his head.
That's what Robert Tomlinson says happened to his 15-year-old nephew early Thanksgiving morning when he was shot outside his grandmother's house in Binghamton. Memphis police say 18-year-old Edio White and another 15-year-old were arrested and charged with first-degree murder during the perpetration of a robbery. Monday, White was released on his own recognizance.
I don't understand why this guy was let go after murdering my nephew. Get this guy off the street.
Judge Bill Anderson Jr. is the one who presided over that bond hearing and made the decision. Without referring to this case specifically, Judge Anderson says the reason he makes this type of ruling is that it allows him to place restrictions on the person involved.
Such as curfew, such as drug testing, et cetera, et cetera. But I can only put those restrictions on them if I release them on their own recognizance.
Judge Anderson says that if he sets a bond and a bail bond company pays it, they become responsible for monitoring that person.
I can't control it because the bail bond company that got this person out, they don't have to listen to me. They're a private industry.
Wednesday, State Senator Brent Taylor criticized Judge Anderson for his stance and that his, quote, contempt for the bail system influences his decisions. Judge Anderson says state lawmakers such as Senator Taylor can remove bail bond companies from the process.
He may not like the results, but he's in a position to change them, and if he wants to change them, that's his prerogative.
And Judge Anderson also says the root cause of these problems goes back to the easy access to guns, which is also the responsibility of the state legislature. Rudy, Pepper.
All right, Stephen, thank you. Well,
623, welcome back in. A mother and her children were targeted and shot at while driving on Hollywood in North Memphis. The mom spoke to us about the terrifying moment for her family and the recovery for her 9-year-old daughter.
I was so angry, and I was so afraid, and I was so mad that I wasn't able to protect my child, and she was with me.
We agreed not to show Shamika Farmer's face because she's afraid. 2 weeks ago, Farmer was driving on Hollywood near Chelsea in North Memphis when 2 people started shooting at her and her children.
And I was telling them, I'm like, get down on the floor.
Farmer says she doesn't know where the gunfire came from, but she knows it was close because it was so loud.
As we were merging onto the interstate, as I'm telling my daughter to get down, she's like, Mom, I've been hit. And I'm like, what do you mean you've been hit? You've been shot?
Farmer panicked.
I looked to my left and I saw a guy sitting out of the sunroof shooting at my car. And I'm like, oh my God. they're still shooting.
Farmer says she doesn't know the gunman and has no idea why they were targeted.
My 11-year-old, he was like, Ma, I got her. I got her. He was like, I can't wake her up, but she's still breathing. So he was like, go, go, go.
She drove to a fire station for help.
When the firemen came out and they started to do their thing, I can hear them saying she's bleeding inward. So I was like, oh, Jesus. I just went to the side and got on my knees and started praying.
9-year-old Shamaya was rushed to Lebanon Hospital in critical condition.
She was shot twice in her stomach. She was also shot once in her right leg. One of the bullets that went in her stomach came out of her back.
Farmer says Shamaya has endured 5 surgeries in 2 weeks and still has more to go. She says Shamaya is still in a lot of pain, but remains in good spirits. Memphis police say the suspects got away in a white Infiniti, and they have choice words for the gunman.
It's disgusting. It is disgusting. This is cowardice. To aimlessly shoot in a vehicle and strike a kid is cowardice. Be a man. Solve your problems with your words. Talk it out. Don't resort to gunfighting. It's stupid.
If you know who shot 9-year-old Shamaya Farmer, call Crime Stoppers at 528-CASH. Your tip could put dangerous criminals behind bars. Remember, all calls are confidential.
Now, if you have a story you'd like for us to profile on Manhunt Monday, email us at manhuntmonday@wreg.com.
Joke car, baby.
New at 10, surveillance video captures the moment a mother-daughter duck for cover as shots explode into their home, apparently the targets of random gun violence while inside their own Midtown home. Hello, I'm Stephanie Skurlock.
And I'm Greg Hurst. A bullet hit one of them in the leg. WRG's Bria Jones joins us now live after police say they've made an arrest in the case. Bria, what do you know?
Well, Greg, Steph, I was able to talk to the victims. They tell me that they told police a man they had never seen before rung their doorbell, and when they told him to leave, they say that's when he opened fire. Must-see surveillance video shows what police are calling an attempted aggravated burglary. The assault happened in Midtown in late October.
I'm trying to get some water for my car.
The man says he wants water for his car, but the woman inside yells back, it's her car, to which the man responds,
Not your car, baby.
That man, have you ever seen him before?
Never seen him. I don't know him from a can of paint.
But the gunman painted her house with bullets. Frightening moments for Candace Locke and her daughter, who were inside their home on North Willette Street.
We're laying in our bed, we're watching TV, and I see a guy walk on my porch, and he's swinging a gun. And he has a ski mask on, he has gloves on.
Locke says the man rung the doorbell, and when she didn't open the door, shot up her home. Bullets piercing through the wall, hitting the washer, one grazing her chin.
His eyes are really wide, like if he was doing drugs.
Her 20-year-old daughter, Serenity Phillips, was shot in the leg.
I had grabbed my gun out of my room, and I was just holding it there, and he let off 2 shots. The one blew up in her face. The second one is where I got hit, so I dropped to the ground.
A month later, Memphis police say they now have the person responsible for the shooting. 42-year-old Corey Davin Clemens has been charged with attempted aggravated burglary and reckless endangerment. However, we're not showing his face because although court records show he was identified in a lineup, Locke and Phillips say that's not the man who attacked them. Is this the person who shot you? Who shot at you guys?
That is not. That's definitely not the gentleman that was on the other side of my door.
With the chance the bad guy could still be on the loose, the two say they no longer feel safe at their home.
I'm gonna leave. Like, this is not a safe place at all.
Now, the suspect is due in court tomorrow. His bond is set at $150,000. Now, we have reached out to both the district attorney's office and the Memphis Police Department about the case. For now, reporting live in South Memphis, Bria Jones, WREG News Channel 3.
We begin the broadcast tonight with box after box taken from a FedEx truck that tried to get through a local intersection. It happened around 8:30 last night in South Memphis. Good evening. Thanks for staying up with us tonight. I'm Daniel Wilkerson. Fox 13's Lakia Scott joins us live from South Memphis tonight. Lakia, the driver didn't make it through before dozens of packages were stolen from the truck. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Daniel. And we don't have an exact count on how many packages and boxes were stolen, but we do know that when those thieves jumped onto the back of that truck, they did not hold back. I'm standing here at this intersection. This is Mallory and Riverport Road. You can see those skid marks in the middle of the road. This is where that truck driver was at. Now, the video shows the FedEx truck stuck here at Riverport and West Mallory. The driver told police that several men broke the sealed latch on the truck. They got in and started taking boxes and packages away. You can also see that the driver is blocked in by several cars that blocked off the road. Now, as the driver finally pushes through the traffic, thieves run after the truck, jumping on to grab more. Now, I spoke with someone who says she drives this route regularly and fears that things could have been worse.
My thing is somebody's going to end up getting killed. And as citizens that are paying taxes, we should have some more security, better security for the people who are paying property taxes and who want to live safely and quietly.
And now we did reach out to FedEx about this recent incident. Now, the company said in part that the safety of its staff members is top priority. So are those packages and the security of the packages for the customers. Now, the company says that they are grateful that there weren't any serious injuries and that they're also fully cooperating with police. Daniel.
Lakia, before you leave us, I tell you that video shows quite a scene. Did FedEx put a value on the amount of items, the dollar amount of items that was stolen?
You know what? We're still working to find that out. I did ask them that question, but they weren't able to give me an exact number just yet. But when you look at that video, you see that those thieves, they got away with quite a bit.
Lakia Scott starting our live coverage off at 9 tonight. We'll see you at 10.
A rash of violence in the Mid-South in the last 72 hours, leaving at least 11 people shot, 5 of them dead. Now, those shootings stretched from Cordova to South Memphis. Thank you for joining us. I'm April Thompson.
I'm Alex Coleman. WREG's Shay Arthur is live this afternoon with a breakdown. Shay, what's the latest?
Hey, Alex. Hey, April. Well, those numbers you just talked about right there really paint a picture tonight. Investigators certainly have their hands full, while city leaders also say we have a big problem here. A basketball court in South Memphis surrounded by crime scene tape as investigators spend a Sunday morning searching for what led to another violent death in the city of Memphis. Investigators discovered a man shot to death here. The latest numbers from Memphis police show a 44% increase in the number of murders compared to this time last year. This graph gives a breakdown. Beyond the numbers, the people. Tonight, sadly, hundreds of families now looking ahead to the holidays without their loved ones. While the murder and homicide numbers are alarming, investigators also told us about other cases of violence that didn't end in death. Friday night, a man was shot not far from a police precinct off Mount Moriah in South Mendenhall. Then, Saturday night around 8:15, a man was shot in the leg in the popular Cooper Young neighborhood, a spot known for restaurants and shopping. The victim told police his car was parked in a lot off Cooper when he heard the alarm going off, discovering a man inside. The victim and the thief struggled. During the fight, the victim was shot in the leg. 2 suspects took off. Police now checking nearby cameras for clues. Back today, we witnessed several MPD cruisers in the area.
Crime is way too high, and it's almost worse than it's ever been. There's some intervention has to be going on with these teens and young adults who are committing these crimes, and that's the missing piece of this puzzle.
If you know anything in these cases, you should call Crime Stoppers at 901-528-CASH. We're live downtown tonight. Shay Arthur, WREG, News Channel 3.
And because lawlessness will be increased, the love of many will grow cold. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the whole world as a testimony to all nations. And then the end will come.
Chapter 18. After this I saw another angel coming down from heaven. He had great authority, and the earth was illuminated by his splendor. With a mighty voice he shouted, "Fallen, fallen is Babylon the Great. She has become a home for demons and a haunt for every evil spirit, a haunt for every unclean and detestable bird. For all the nations have drunk the maddening wine of her adulteries. The kings of the earth committed adultery with her, and the merchants of the earth grew rich from her excessive luxuries. Then I heard another voice from heaven say, Come out of her, my people, so that you will not share in her sins, so that you will not receive any of her plagues. For her sins are piled up to heaven, and God has remembered her crimes. Give back to her as she has given. Pay her back double for what she has done. Mix her a double portion from her own cup. Give her as much torture and grief as the glory and luxury she gave herself. In her heart she boasts, I sit as queen, I am not a widow, and I will never mourn. Therefore in one day her plagues will overtake her, death, mourning, and famine. She will be consumed by fire, for mighty is the Lord God who judges her.